our favourite royal commentator, because she must be as aghast as I am. Angela, very good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm boiling over, actually.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep because I was so angry with him. I just, you know, it is appalling. And it's nonsense to say that, because they left this accusation dangling.
Yeah.
Since their interview with Oprah Winfrey, which is a long time ago, made no attempt to correct it, made no attempt to sort of modify it. So did you feel they were laughing behind their hands?
Yes.
That they were keeping us actually to believe, frightening the royal family, that perhaps they might do things that they want them to do. I mean, I think it's beyond despicable, actually.
Right.
And to receive... And how he can say that it's nonsense, they're not racist, and then accept this award is hypocritical beyond the mountain.
Duplicitous doesn't even begin to describe it. And also, you know, why, if he believes that the royal family are not racist, did he not say at the time to Oprah Winfrey, no, you've got this wrong, don't please misquote us, we are not saying the royal family is racist? Why didn't he say that?
Yeah, well, what he did say is the fact that Meghan said, often they said to her, you know, we wonder what colour his skin will be. And then when Harry came on later, because obviously Meghan had 3/4 of the interview for herself, when he came on, actually Oprah asked him and he said, no, it only happened once. That there was his opportunity, but he endorsed what Meghan was saying, and there is no doubt that what they wanted us all to think was that the royal family are racist. And that's been terrible. I remember soon afterwards, a reporter shouted at Prince William when he was going into an engagement, is the royal family racist? And he was obviously so furious, because he's usually very dignified, and he turned around and said, no, we are definitely not. Did Harry say something? Did Harry confirm it? No. He obviously liked it, because he's just a disgusting person that wants to bring other people down because he's got no confidence in himself and he wants to somehow get his own back. What a way to behave.
I know. It's extraordinary. And, of course, the other thing, which I found remarkable about the way that the interview was conducted, was that Bradby didn't, because they're friends, right, Bradby didn't press him on it. You know, for me, if it had been me, I would have said, all right, so are you saying that you didn't ever have a conversation with somebody about the colour of Archie's skin and potentially what it might be? And if you did have that, then how can you say that it wasn't racist? And therefore, you know, these points were never really pressed home. And some of the things he said about Camilla as well, you know, I know that he said that he and William didn't really want their father to marry her, but, you know, that's all water under the bridge now. But for him to say that she was sort of dangerous is an extraordinary thing to say. And he's sort of hinting still that there was some kind of weird thing that happened to his mother.
Yes. I think it is very interesting, because I spend a lot of my journalistic life interviewing well-known people, right? Whenever I knew them even a little bit, I felt inhibited. It's quite difficult, because there's something inside you that wants to protect them. So he should never have done it.
No.
He couldn't cope with it. He couldn't actually be strong when Harry was there. I can understand it's difficult, but then you shouldn't do it. This is a very, very important interview.
Yeah. But I'm
come back with a second and a third question is absolutely not being a journalist. It's being a sort of listener, a kind friend.
Exactly. But also, I mean, I'm like you, I've done similar things, but I've always, if it's anyone that I know, and in particular if it's somebody I know well, I always say beforehand, look, I'm going to ask you some things you might not like, but you know that they're not coming from a bad place, you know that they're not coming from any kind of feelings of malice. I just want you to answer these questions, because my audience will expect you to do exactly that. I mean, I had Piers Morgan in here when his book came out, and we had a right old Barney, but because we know each other, it was fine. You know, he didn't mind. He's robust enough to be able to answer the question, but Harry obviously isn't. Harry clearly only wants to talk to people who are going to be sympathetic towards him.
But he wants to that's why he wants to shut up the press. He only wants the press who's going to say nice things. But actually, Tom Bradby did send through a list of his questions, which is always a disaster.
Yes, you should never do that.
And he obviously couldn't ask anything that was out of this. He might be frightened that Harry would get up and walk out. I mean, Harry is not somebody, I can't imagine how he's become so ridiculous, actually. He doesn't know what he's saying. He changes his mind all the time. He's a very ill man.
Yes, I mean, I'm wondering, as well, as many people are currently wondering, whether all the drugs he's taken have taken some toll on him. You know, all the weed that he smoked, all the mushrooms that he took, all the hallucinogenics and psychedelics that he's been taking, you know, it might have fried his brain.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. I think that's why he actually has said in the book that he weed his pants an hour before he met Meghan. And you imagine anybody with...
I missed that particular jewel of information, but thank you for sharing it with me. I mean, there's so much. It's like, I was likening it at the weekend to somebody following you around at a party that you don't know very well, continually telling you things about themselves that you didn't ask them. I don't care about most of what he's telling me. I'm not interested, you know, about how he felt. I don't really care about whether he's circumcised or not, or whether his brother is, or whether, you know, he wet himself.
How he lost his virginity.
Yeah, I really don't want to know about that. It's just horrendous. But, I mean, the other thing that Bradby didn't seem to pick up on much either, and we now know that Anjem Chowdhury, the horrendous Islamic preacher, has now called for the Duke of Sussex to be somehow punished for what he did in Afghanistan. It's not quite put a jihad on him, but he's, you know, he hasn't quite put a fatwa on him, but he's called on jihadis to retaliate against Prince Harry. And Harry is now, despite all of his protestations about wanting to keep his family safe, has actually put them in danger.
Yes, he has. Well, some people have said that this is a trick to get the Home Office to actually give him protection 24/7 so that he doesn't have to think about it again. But I don't know as much. I think he's actually screwed on this. It's inexcusable. And not only has he done it for himself, he's done it for veterans, he's done it for other people in the army, he's done it for his whole family. It's a big worry for the coronation. And he is always right. He's perfect. Oh, yeah. He knows how to control the royal family, who's doing what wrong. He wants to control the press, in this part, the fact that this is a free country. He just thinks he's incredibly clever, at the same time having terrible feelings about his own status. He needs help.
Yes, he really does.
Camilla, which I haven't said to you. I mean, it is absolutely cruel and nonsensical. I mean, as you know, I did her biography and came out recently, but she's just not that sort of woman. She is not manipulative.
No, she's very down to earth, isn't she?
Rebellion. And actually to say that about her and said, you know, what was the word? He sacrificed me for her personal PR, on her personal PR altar. Yeah. What does that mean?
I know.
You know, she tried to be kind and nice. She didn't want to be stand in for Diana. They waited years after Diana died so that the children would get used to them. And she was very caring but not too involved, which is just right for a stepmother.
So what it all comes down to, in the end, unfortunately, Angela, is money. He seems to be under the impression he's the only man who's ever married somebody that the rest of his family didn't like very much, you know, because that happens every single day of the week. You know, many people marry a woman who then doesn't get along with the rest of their family, and it becomes a problem. Well, guess what? That's what's going on here. And you can't really blame them for not liking her. She doesn't seem very likeable.
No. Yes, he was very cross that because she was American and she was divorced and she was biracial, they were very nasty to her. No, it's not. It's because she's not a very nice person. She's very destructive. And actually, in some of the sentences that I have read so far, that she actually, you can hear her voice there. Remember, when they went on an engagement abroad, she found it disgusting that she wasn't getting paid extra for this. And then Harry is saying when he was thrown out of the royal family, they didn't give him compensation. Well, that doesn't, you know, his father carried on giving him money. But this is a Meghan comment, I'm quite sure. And all they want is to take. They're not grateful for anything whatsoever. No. I don't think he could come ever again to this country.
I think he's done.
And think, you know, I have known him. I was very fond of him, spent over a year with him. And I think, well, you know, he's not very well. He's had a hard time. Let bygones be bygones. But this has been so insulting to everybody. And such so many lies there. And
it's just dreadful, yeah.
Gobbledygook. You couldn't even understand what he was talking about.